Next, we want to display restaurant location on map screen using custom pins. To do so, we need to create a class called a restaurant item. It will conform to MK annotation protocol, and then we'll create a map data manager. We use this data manager to load restaurant data from a plist. We'll put this plist into the array of restaurant item instance, and we'll make change to both map data manager and explore data manager to avoid redundant code. Here, MK annotation is an instance for associating your contents with a specified map location. Any object can conform to MK annotation. To conform to MK annotation class, an object must implement a coordinate property which contains a map location. Optional MK annotation property are title, that is a string containing the annotation's title and subtitle. When an object conforming to MK annotation has its coordinate in the area of a map that is visible on screen, the map view asks its delegate, normally it's a controller, view controller, to provide a corresponding object of MK annotation view type. If the user scrolls to the map and the MK annotation view goes off screen, it will put into a reuse queue and recycled later, similar to the way the table view cells and the collection view cells are recycled. Now let's open the project. And first of all, we're going to create a new folder. So, new group, and give a name called a map. Within map, create another folder and give a name called a model. And then we'll drag the plist to this folder model. So it's right here. And click on finish. Now you can see the map location plist is added here. If you open each item here, you can see we have address and area, city, cushions, country ID, URL, lat, long, mobile, and name, postal code, and same thing for item 2, item 1, item 2, and item 3, and item 4. So all these are from the plist, and we're going to display this information. Remember, plist is used as a data source. So we have data here. Then we're going to pull up the data from plist and display it on the screen. And next, we'll create a file in model folder. So right here, click on new file. And there we'll choose a Cocoa Touch. And go next. There we'll give a file name. Restaurant item, and the subclass, we choose N as object. N as object. Language Swift. Go next. And click on create. So that's pretty much what we have here. And we update this file to be like this. Look at the top here. We have these variables: name, cushions, lat, long, address, postal code, state, image URL. we're going to grab those information from the plist. Remember, we just got a plist here. Now we're going to grab the information from plist and save into these variables. And below that, we have a dictionary. This initializer gets data from the plist. And notice here the name matches all the keys and values in the dictionary. Look at this dictionary here. We have address, city, areas, cuisines, country, ID, image URL, lat, long. These two are used to save the position of in a map. Because we use coordinates. We use coordinates to set the position in a map for each address. That's why we have latitude and longitude. Those two values here. And in our code here, we have used them as a latitude and longitude. So those two. All these name matches the key and the values in the dictionary. So this is the key. This is the value in dictionary. So that's how we create the same type and a name to match the value from the plist into the dictionary. And next we get a title. So just return, looking for title and return the name. So in our plist here, we have title, and we just want to get a name. And also below that, we have a subtitle. And the subtitle, this time we want to return the cuisines. Notice here we have an if-else statement here. If cuisine is empty, return empty string. And else, if cuisine count 1 means only one item in cuisine, then we return that one. Return it first. If it's more than one, then we return all the items, all the cuisine items joined with separator comma. Joined. So we return all of them with separator comma. So if you look at the plist here, you can see that we have a cuisine. This time we have a item 0, item 1, or 2 items here. So these two will be Indian, comma, gastropubs. Use comma to separate this. But you look at item 1 here, there's no cuisine. So that's empty string will be returned. And item 2, there's a cuisine, two items here. So you can see there are 2 items here. Item 0, item 1. And item 3, 2 items. Item 4, 2 items. And that's why in the restaurant item here, we want to see how to return the subtitle. But that's the cuisine. Either empty string or one. If only one cuisine item, then we return 1. If more than one, we return all of them with a separator, comma as a separator. And the last part is we want to return location. So here we create a type of CL location coordinate 2D, and we're looking for the latitude and the longitude. So we check the value here, get a latitude, get a longitude from the plist, and return all together as the CL location coordinate 2D value. So that's pretty much what we have in restaurant item. And next, we're going to create another script file. So we go back to model folder here, create a new file. And then this time we'll choose a script file. Go next and give a name that's map data manager create. And we'll add this code. On top, we create a class map data manager, and there we create 2 variables. The first one, file private var items. Here we save the restaurant information. Notice here we have a keyword called file private. This keyword makes the items, restaurant items, makes the restaurant items array only accessible inside the map data manager class. This is the map data manager class. Means this array is only accessible within this file, not outside. That's how we use file private keyword to protect this array information. And next we have a array type of annotation that returns the item. The type is restaurant item. Next, we have two methods or functions. The first one, fetch. The fetch method has a completion closure, annotation, array, restaurant, and if within items, because we return items later on. So, but remember, restaurant items is a restaurant item array. So we check to see if what's inside of the item first. That's why we say if it's greater than 0, we clear it, remove all, and then we have a for loop to cycle through the load data. So if there's any item in the load data, we add it here by calling append restaurant item data. So that's how we add all together into the other array items, and then we complete it. So notice here, this is called a completion closure. We have completion here, and then we have completion here, called a completion closure. Why do we do this? Because sometimes you don't know when an operation will be finished. For example, you need to do an action after you have downloaded a file from the internet, but you don't know how long it will take to download. The completion closure here, in effect, is saying when all of the data from the plist file has been processed, return the annotations array. The annotation array will later be used when adding restaurant item instance to the map screen. That's why we have a completion closure here. Since we don't know how long it will be loaded from the plist, and if it's loaded successfully, so we put it in completion closure to test it. If it's there, we provide a security. That's why here we call annotation restaurant array, and then we check the items to see if it is empty. If it's not empty, we clear it, because we want to load the data here. Because when load the data here, we call the string type object, and then we provide where to load it here. So we call bundle main path, the point to the map location plist. So map location plist. That's how we know we're looking at this file. And then we're ready to get a path. So we call ns array contents of file path get a path. Else we return nothing. So return nothing. It's a colon. And then finally, if everything goes well, we return the items as a string type array. This is what load does. So call load in the fetch through the completion closure. Just want to make sure that all the data from plist is successfully read or loaded or processed in the completion closure.